You know what I say today? Forget the Philadelphia Eagles. Forget about them. We're less than 2 weeks from Sixers preseason basketball. Phillies playoffs, Red October, is like 4 days away, 3 days away. Let's talk something a little bit more positive or different. Yeah, I'm sure the Eagles will be part of the conversation today. They always are part of the conversation. But let's try to focus on Sixers and Phillies. Hell, if you want to talk Flyers as well, that's what I want to talk about today. That's what I want to focus on, the good, not the bad. Train the AM, we're live, taking your thoughts and opinions in 60 seconds. And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM on the STT Sports Network. Does that work? And Edge of Philly Sports, guys. I'm your host, Bill Stiefel. You can find me on all social media platforms at Bearded Knowledge. Please do me that favor. Hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe and follow button. Wherever you're watching, hit those buttons. It is free to do. It does not cost you a thing to support a local content creator to grow this channel, to grow this show. Let's set the trends. Let's aim higher. Let's be better. Guys, we got a jam-packed show today. Lots to get into today. But I got to say, and I'm going to say it many times throughout the show, linked on YouTube, linked on, it didn't work on Facebook. I'll have to try again on Facebook right now. Let's see if it works. I have put in the comments section my personal YouTube page, which is now titled the STT Sports Network. Guys, I greatly appreciate it. If you're not watching on that YouTube channel, to please click that like button and that subscribe button over there onto that. That is my YouTube page. We've got some things to dive into today, but we're going to talk sports first. But I need you guys to find my YouTube page and really start learning to go over to that. We got lots to talk about today. I'm saying F the Eagles. Forget the Eagles. F standing for forget, not what you think. For a few minutes. And let's talk Sixers basketball. Let's talk hope. Let's talk Phillies. Let's talk Red October. Let's talk all that kind of stuff today. Let's talk positivity today about what is positive and not looking dreadful like our Philadelphia Eagles. I'm sure, later in this show there will be some Philadelphia Eagles talk. There will be a few things on the Philadelphia Eagles that, we cover. We got Sean Barnard, Fox the Gambler, joining us in about 20, 25 minutes. To give us his takes and thoughts on Sixers Media Day, everything that went on there. And to get a little positivity, we're going to talk a little Phillies, who we'd rather play, the Mets or the Brewers, and what our real true confidence meter is in our Philadelphia Phillies going forward. We got lots to get on to. Hey, my man Mitch, thank you very much. Yes, this is the new YouTube channel, STT Sports Network. EOP, unfortunately, we'll be losing the EOP YouTube page at the end of this week. So make sure everybody finds the STT Sports Network. Here's the link, and it's in the description, guys. I greatly appreciate it. And Mitch, I appreciate you. I know we're not going to get to 69 likes today, but we are 9 subscribers away from 100. You can't get to 1,000 subscribers until you get to 100 first. So I appreciate you, Mitch. You're the man. We are going to talk Sixers a lot today, Mitch. So I'll meet you today, okay? Rick Wright Darius Slay is a weasel, the epitome of the prom. Look, I'm trying. I know the Eagles are frustrating the hell out of us, Rick. I know. I get it. But I can't take negative Eagles talk and and Jalen Hurts talk and Nick Sirianni talk today. I just can't. I need a break from the Eagles. I don't know about you, but the bye week to me for the Eagles is hitting at the perfect moment because I just need a break. And it's crazy because normally the Sixers would not give me any positivity because, let me be honest, at the end of last Sixers season, I told myself, I'm out on the Sixers. I'm out. I'm not going to let them break my heart again. But at the culmination of this offseason, we are on the cusp of them starting. I think today or tomorrow they start practicing in the Bahamas for training camp. You know, we're 9 days away from a preseason game, and we're 3 weeks away from the first regular season game. And I'm sitting here thinking optimistically about our Sixers team again. And in a different way. I'm not like overhyping. I'm not worried that this Sixers team is going, or I'm not thinking that this Sixers team is just going to be this, you know, crazy, unbelievable team. And I'm not putting championship expectations, but I'm pleasantly surprised by my optimism for the Sixers. Well, I'm greater than everybody, even you, Mitchie Poo. Mitchie Poo, you get me to 1,000 subscribers this month with your hustle. I will call you Mitch Koff and not Mitchie Poo for the rest of the year. There's the deal. You want to be called Mitch Koff? You'll get me to 1,000. Help me get to 1,000 subscribers, and you could be Mitch Koff, all right? You'd never hear a leader like Dawkins or Vincent or Trotter go on the Cowboys podcast. Dude, it's a different time. I hate it too. And then Slay's out there talking other kind of trash to other people. You know, and then he's out there trying to spin it in a positive light yesterday. Stupid. I can't take the whole Darius Slay stuff right now. It's literally driving me nuts. What's up, Kevin? Good morning to you. Harper needs to step up. He had a terrible second half. Kevin, what is your confidence meter? Your confidence, like, entering the playoffs for the Phillies as the first game is on Saturday, as we get set for this playoffs? Do you want to face the Mets or the Brewers? The Mets with a big 8-4 win over the Brewers yesterday. The Mets on one side are red hot, but also playing a shit ton of baseball in a very small window. The Brewers on the other side. I wanted to say I'm worried about Rhys Hoskins having a big moment in Philly again, but the Brewers are a team. I don't know where I stand on who I want the Phillies to face. And my confidence isn't uber high. Now, Zach Wheeler, I'm overly confident in, but Bryce Harper needs to get back to Red October Bryce Harper. There's a bunch of guys on this team that need to step up offensively speaking, big time. Mets are on the upswing, please no Mets. And I get that. And I do. But the only reason that the Rhys Hoskins joke is a joke, right? Like, yeah, I'm not worried. He didn't even play in game one like yesterday. My worry is, or my hope for the Mets, though, is that they played a doubleheader on Monday and they flew right to Milwaukee. They're going to play a bunch of games and then have to play. Like, they might be a little burned out by the time they get to Philly on Saturday. And just so anybody knows, they released yesterday or late last night the information that the two games, Saturday and Sunday, will be 4:05 games. So keep that in mind. Good morning, Duck. We're trying to talk Sixers, expectations, and your gut feeling going into the season. And we're trying to talk Phillies. And Duck, and I'm going to tell every time I see a Core 12 in the comments, I'm going to put up. It's in the link in the description of the show. It's also in the comments. This is my personal YouTube page. This is the last week of the EOP YouTube page. This is the last week to find me on the EOP YouTube page. I'm going to try for a little while to go solo on my own YouTube page. So please find my YouTube page, STT Sports Network, and hit the subscribe button. That is where you're going to find this show. And also, I'm planning on doing a lot more shows to help grow that channel more. So, Duck, everybody, I greatly appreciate you guys finding that and hitting the like and subscribe button there. Anthony, what is up this morning, my man? Hopefully, Mets are worn out, especially their pitchers. Great point. Like, that is the biggest thing I can see. I know the Mets are red hot in theory. I was looking there over their last 12 games. They're only like 8-6. So they were red hot. They got into the playoffs, but that last 2 weeks it was kind of a little leveling out. So, Anthony, I'm really thinking that is something that can help get the Phillies to the second round or the NLCS. But we also have to have confidence in our own players that they can break out of their slumps. The hitters can start hitting the ball a little bit better. The pitchers outside Zach Wheeler. we've got a lot of young, unproven guys in the bullpen. Kirkring and whatnot. So we've got a lot of question marks for the Phillies. Now they're playing a simulated game today. I gotta say, and I'll probably say this a couple times today on this show. Not a simulated, like an inter-squad game, like a scrimmage today. And someone joked that there'll probably be some betting going on that on the field. Betting a couple days after Pete Rose died. Yeah, that's really good. I bet you if they sold tickets to the intra-squad game, they would be able to sell out Citizens Bank Park today. I appreciate that, Doug. I greatly appreciate it. This is the only place at the end of the week, starting next week, this will be the only place to catch Trending in the AM. So we are going to work, and I need each and every person watching, the entire Core 12, all 20, 30 of you, to find this page, but also help me out. Because it's going to be tough for me to do 90-minute shows every single day. With my personal YouTube page gets like 15, 20 views a day, counting replays. The EOP YouTube page gets 150, 200, 300 plays a day. So I'm going to need everybody to help me, more than ever, to promote the STT Sports Network. STT standing for Set the Trends, guys, because that's what we're going to do. Good morning, Joe. Hoping the best on the new beginning. Are you worried that this may be too long of a rest period for the Phillies? Joe, yes and no. The rest period for the Phillies is important, 100%, because they've had some banged up. Somebody like Zach Wheeler needs a little break. Aaron Nola needs a break. Ranger Suarez definitely needs the break. I'm concerned that the inconsistent hitting is going to be even more inconsistent after this long layoff. There's something about pitching. You can pitch, simulate it, and work on your spots and all. Hitting against your teammates is a little different than hitting against somebody. I know the Phillies pitchers will try to get the hitters out today, but it's a little different than trying to hit against someone on the Mets or the Brewers. So it does concern me a little bit. Morning, Stevie Fuentes. Man, I love you, my man. Can't wait for the Sixers season to tip off 25-30. The loss the weight loss. We got Sean Barnard joining us in just a little bit. We're going to get his takes on media day because he was down there at the media complex and asking questions and stuff. I am oddly optimistic about the Phillies this season. I don't know why, but I am. Because I promised myself I wouldn't let myself get heartbroken by this team. But I'm putting realistic expectations, and I shouldn't say realistic. I'm not putting any expectations on the Phillies season. All I'm doing is putting the expectation that we'll see what happens. We'll see how it plays out. Kevin, watching from Sebastian, Florida. Hopefully that's not an area that got hit too hard from Hurricane Helene. And if it is, I hope you are doing well. Make sure, I think you're watching on the EOP YouTube page. Find the STT Sports Network page in the comments. Click the link, subscribe. Going forward, that'll be the only place to catch the #1 morning show in Philadelphia. On the air or on the dial. The longest running YouTube show daily in the morning on YouTube. The first daily YouTube show in Philly as well. The only one where your opinions matter, Kevin. So give me your opinions. I was wondering how long it would take you to go back to independent again. Wait for the Fox's Pizza runner again. Look, this was an unexpected thing. There's some things going on behind the scenes at EOP. The Facebook page will continue on for a little while, and so will the X account. The website's going away. The YouTube page is going away and going to get rebranded from somebody else. But I am not stopping. I think this is a perfect opportunity for me to, at least for the rest of this year, see if I can build my own channel. Okay? See if I can do my own thing and not rely on anybody else. Now, yes, the money will suck to not have anymore coming in. But if we get this YouTube page to 1,000, then I can monetize it. I can't get to 1,000 until I get to 100, though. We're at 91 or 92 coming into today. So we've got to push forward. I have a passion for doing this, Doug. I really, truly love this every single morning, even when it's hard to wake up. I love talking Eagles, Phillies, Sixers, maybe even some Flyers. I love my golf content. I'm going to have to take a step back to take 2 steps forward, but I think it's for the best just to go on my own. There will be some logo changes and graphic changes as we go. I kind of had to whip up a graphic for STT Sports Network on the fly. So we'll see. Plus, I do the Eagles check down on the Eagles Pinpool Podcast Network for Shane Half as well. So Phillies, back to Joe's comment, I am concerned but not concerned. And on Steve's comment, I'm optimistically, feeling good about the Sixers. And again, the Sixers, I think we all need to do something with the Sixers this year. I think we all have to go into this season with an open mind. We have to go into this season and not put any unnecessary pressure on the Sixers or on ourselves for the Sixers, because we let ourselves get heartbroken on a regular basis, and that's got to stop. We need to sit here and just go into it open-minded. Let's see how it plays out. A lot of new pieces, not just Paul George on this team. Still some question marks on the team. But again, Sean Barnard will be here very shortly. 6 more to the 200. I appreciate that. I'm telling you, you could become Mitchkoff if we get to 1,000 by the end of October. Today's October 2nd. You got 29 days to get me to 1,000, and I will call you Mitchkoff, and you'll never be called Mitchy Poo ever again, Mitchy, just so you know. But we're 6 there. Can't get to 1,000 until we get to 100. Peanut, what is up, my man? I know you've got my back. You've had my back since day one. It's not the beginning of a movement, but it's the beginning of me taking the movement and pushing it forward on my own. Yes, see, since it's the 30th anniversary this past week of the Shawshank, I've written down a few. This is the last one I've had to put up there. I don't know. I got to start coming up with more movie references. That is something else that will be on this show. I am meeting next Monday, or this upcoming Monday, the 7th, with my old college roommate. We're playing golf together. And he wants to start a movie show on this YouTube channel with me. And we are going to hammer out the details of when we are going to start and what we're going to pick as the name of our movie show. Where we'll do, I don't know if we'll do every other week or every month or whatnot, a show talking about movies. All different topics of movies related. So that is very important. I think the Sixers are going to be great this year if they can stay healthy. Something we haven't really talked about much on this show, and something that I got a lot of hate for on Twitter. The Knicks were one of our biggest competitors in the Eastern Conference. And I think they actually took a step back in the trade for Karl Anthony Towns. I do not think Karl Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson will be a fit together, guys. I don't think it will work. So, that being said, who's our competition? If the Paul George combo with Embiid and Maxey work out, we could be one of the best teams in the East. But I'm not putting that confidence, I'm not putting that expectation there. I'm pleasantly confident. I'm pleasantly curious. What does the next step of Tyrese Maxey look like? What does what does Caleb Martin at the 4 look like? Can Kyle Lowry and Eric Gordon do anything off the bench? Is Guerschon why did they have to sign Guerschon? Like, I can't even say anything. Guerschon Yabusele. Like, what is he going to be like? Last time he was in the NBA, he's done. Will Jarrett McCain do anything as a rookie for this team? There are questions for this Sixers team. So no expectations, but I'm pleasantly hopeful. I'm going into it open-minded. Kevin, Harper needs to warm up pitchers early in the game. He starts warming up pitchers in the 6th inning. Yeah, I'm not sure what they're going to do with Ranger Suarez, but it'll be curious. They'll be warming guys up quickly in Ranger Suarez starts. How about I'll call you Mitchy Koff once a show if you get me to 169, okay? But you got to do that in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, okay, Mitch? Sixers much deeper than they were in the past. They got a good mix of youth, aging veterans, guys in their prime. They got enough depth, hopefully, that Joel Embiid doesn't have to be pushed, Rick. You can load manage Joel Embiid as much as you have to or can. So that's where we're at. I think this team, I will say this. There's a lot of people saying that Daryl Morey won the offseason. Daryl Morey, the king again. Look, Daryl Morey's failed a lot. And I think that's the only thing holding me back from putting expectations, that Daryl Morey is the one that built this team. Now, I'm not a huge Kyle Lowry at this point in his career fan. Eric Gordon's getting up there in age. Kelly Oubre, I don't think should be a starter. I don't know about Caleb Martin as a power forward as a starter. Guerschon basically got a contract because of his viral dunk on LeBron James in the Olympics. So I've got questions. And that's why I'm just going in open-minded for this Sixers team and this season. For the Sixers, I feel optimistic. However, that PG role, point guard role, really worries me. Unlike Maxey has took over, I feel like we need a true point guard to succeed. Lowry and Jackson are bench guys. Yeah, Reggie Jackson's another depth bench guy. He's the third string. He's the third point guard on this team. He's going to be a guy that gets DMPs sometimes, coaches' decisions. I think Maxey takes another step forward. Joe. I really, truly do. I think he's got the ability to take that step forward big time. So we'll see how that goes. I'm a huge movie nerd as well. So am I. I love movies. And my man, Brian, who comments sometimes on the show, loves the movies, and he's way smarter than me as well. So I'm super excited to do something and partner with my old college roommate and have something other than sports to talk about. Is Embiid, Maxey, Paul George the best three in the league? I don't know. Maybe. We're going to find out. I mean, I would have said Brunson, on paper, Brunson and Bridges and, Cat maybe. But let me tell you something. Cat is not going to fit in well there. The other big threes around the league, I mean, on paper, the Sixers should be. But the thing is, the Sixers have never put it together. They've had great big threes in the past. And whether it's injuries, continuity, it always seems to fall apart. I think the Sixers are going to continue being what they are, first, second round, exit type teams. I hope not, Duck. But that is why I'm not I'm not saying they have to do this or I'm pissed off. I'm not putting any massive expectations on this team. I'm just letting it play out. What is up, Mike? Just like everybody else, you watch on the EOP YouTube page. Find my personal YouTube page here. I'll put it in the comments again. After this week, this YouTube page will be the only place you can catch the show. So make sure you find it, my man. I'd greatly appreciate it. I just linked it in the bottom. Click it, subscribe, and watch as much as you can on there going forward. Movie show titled Feeling Real, talking flicks. I love it. DM me that. I'll bring that up when we have the little comment, little powwow, me and my man on Monday. Feeling Real, although that doesn't involve Brian's name, but we'll see. Knicks move didn't help much because you traded away your six-man for him. The Knicks move Drew, just like I said to everybody else, make sure you find my personal YouTube page going forward. That's where you watch Trend in the AM after this week. Cat needs the ball in his hand. Jalen Brunson loves the ball in his hand. How is that going to work? I don't know. We're going to find out. Have you seen the documentary about Jarrett McCain and his family? I have not. Didn't even know there was a documentary on him. And Mr., as I'm telling everybody else, linked below. Click the link. Subscribe to my YouTube page. Going forward, that is going to be the only place that you can find Training the AM after this week. I've got permission to stream for today and 2 more days on this YouTube channel. And that is it. And I appreciate that, Mitchie Poo. You are the man. I appreciate you going forward. They love balls. Stop. You tricked me into reading that one. But seriously, when it comes to the Knicks, how do they think that Karl-Anthony Towns, and on a side note, doesn't Karl-Anthony Towns have a problem with Tom Thibodeau, their coach too, from their time in I don't know. Anyway, I don't think it was a good move. Not just because you're losing your six-man Dante DiVincenzo. It's not like Cat's not a better player than Randall. He is a better player. But Cat is the softest big man in the NBA. He's the best shooting big man in the NBA. I don't care. I actually think the Minnesota Timberwolves, by getting rid of Karl-Anthony Towns, got better by default because Anthony Edwards can now do what he needs to do to ascend to an MVP caliber player without Cat taking 300 shots a game. Cat and Brunson are not going to work together. Along with Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, that is going to be a big cluster in New York. Now, they're going to win a lot of games in New York, but when it comes down to playoff time and when it comes down to playoff seeding, they're just not going to be good enough. There is not going to be continuity, and you're going to see fighting. Adam, my man, linked in the show descriptions is my personal YouTube page. I'm pretty sure you subscribe, but going forward, that is the place to watch my show after this week because some things going on behind the scenes. I know we'll chat later today, me and you, but yeah, this has got to be the STT Sports Network going forward, my man. But I love you, my man, Adam. I know you'll support me wherever I am. I hope the league starts to whistle Brunson for all the flops. I can't stand it. They said that they were going to work on controlling the flops the last couple of years. They haven't, the referees. It is still a very weird, the stars get away with stuff kind of NBA. Julius Randle won the trade by getting out of New York. Yeah, Julius Randle's a weird guy to me. Julius Randle's a good player, but the Knicks tried to make him a superstar player, and I don't think that was right or should be how it is. You know what I mean? Like, They tried to make him the 25-12 guy, making him take threes. No, just put him in the block. Let him play down low, get rebounds, and put balls back up into the hoop. Like, I always thought Julius Randle early in his career had some potential to be a solid, number 3 on a team, but the Knicks tried to make him a 1. He's also been injured a lot, Stevie, over the years, at least the last year or two. So he won by getting out. He won by going to a place where he could be a 2 or a 3 now. Anthony Edwards is one of my favorites. No, it's from the Shawshank Redemption. This past week has been the 30th anniversary of the Shawshank Redemption, Kevin, was released. My favorite movie of all time. I think it is the greatest movie, the greatest piece of cinema there ever is. So I've been putting different quotes all week. Today's the last day. I'm out of quotes that I want to use. I've used a few of them. I used, obviously, the obtuse quote. Every man has his breaking point was the last 2 days. No one else, picked up on that. But yeah, Shawshank Redemption is what that is, my man. But yeah, we'll be joined very shortly here by the great Sean Barnard. He'll be jumping in the into the show here, and we'll get his take on the Sixers. But you're hearing, if you listen to any of the interviews from Media Day, everybody seems to, this seems to be the first time entering, and this might be why I'm feeling a little bit better, I guess is the word, about the Sixers season, is because this is the first year entering a season in a long time that there's no drama entering the Sixers season. Ben Simmons is a long-forgotten memory. Yeah, look, he says he's the healthiest he's been. Good for him. James Harden is long gone. He's out there in L.A. saying he's the leader of that L.A. Clippers team. There's no drama. Joel Embiid has Tyrese Maxey and Paul George. They seem to be on the same page. Tobias Harris is long gone now. Tobias Harris is a funny one. Hold on. I just saw Tobias Harris pop up. Tobias Harris being gone is the sole reason I'm hyped. I love it. I love it. Sounds messed up. Let me check my settings. I keep getting these setting things. Now it looks like my settings are set the right way. I just think my microphone's getting old. TMC. Tobias Harris is gone. That's all that matters. I saw on social media Sixers fans getting in Tobias Harris's mentions, and he was chirping right back. So I actually kind of love that. Because Tobias was actually, he might have been an paid guy here. He was a good guy, good to the community, good to the fans. We gave him a hard time, rightfully so at times, but it is what it is, Steve. But yeah, he's gone. The drama is gone. Yeah, it's good that it's going. Man, Chatter, I know you're subscribed to the new YouTube channel, and I appreciate you. Later this week, I got some good football guests coming up on Thursday and Friday, man, Chatter. Tomorrow, Josh, the Philly special, will be joining me. Friday, Nick Faria, talking about he's a Jets reporter, but he's an Eagles fan, so he can get some Buffalo Jets and an AFC East talk. I think it's okay. I don't know. I hate it, Tobias, so much. Worst Max player ever. Look, this is the last time until Detroit comes to Philly that we ever have to mention Tobias Harris's name. The best, the first, the only. Adam, muchas gracias. I mean, the ELP Facebook page is still going to go on for the rest of the year. I'm still going to stream on the ELP Facebook page going forward for the next couple months, but the goal will be to solely stream on this YouTube channel and this Twitter account the rest of the year going forward, and that's it. So real quick, before we continue on here, let me take this banner off the screen so I could do this here. Joining me now on the, I guess I have no more sponsors, hotline, my man, Sean Barnard, Fox the Gambler, and like 400 other websites on there. Good morning to you, Sean. How you doing today?
Yeah, good morning, Phil. Appreciate you having me on, and I'm feeling good. We're getting to the basketball season, so I'm thrilled for that. We're in, I think, the best month of the entire sports calendar, so it's good times right here in the sports world.
Absolutely. And I want to start this off with kind of like a vague question for you.
Okay.
You know, I know you were at the media day the other day, and I want to get like thoughts on specific individuals, but this is the first time in years that I have no expectations going into the season, and having those no expectations are kind of putting me pleasantly like excited for the season. I kind of told myself I wouldn't get excited again for a Sixers season for a while, but here I am excited because whatever. I'm kind of feeling like whatever at this point. Why is there pleasantly some confidence going into the Sixers season?
Well, I think for the first time in quite some time, there is not this like constant off-court distraction. That there's not this James Harden trade rift or Ben Simmons holdout or off the court things that you're waiting on. It's just we're focused on basketball, and there's a really good basketball team set to take place in Philadelphia this year. So I think it's the no news has been good news to an extent regarding the Sixers team. That there's been a lot more normalcy and I guess more of a traditional NBA outlook, which is really refreshing to see. So I think we're kind of a little bit unaccustomed to that, as there has been so much going on behind the scenes for really the past decade of Sixers basketball, that it's nice that it's just kind of a normal transition into the season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is the first time, like, I don't feel like Joel Embiid's being fake. Like, oh, yeah, me and James Harden are cool. Or, yeah, me and Ben Simmons will be fine. Like, there's no drama. This is the first. We don't have Tobias Harris drama. We have no drama on this team yet. But, that's why, again, I really feel, I said this at the top of the show, that not putting expectations on this Sixers season might make Sixers fans enjoy it more. And then when we get to the end of the season, if it goes according to plan, we might be, in a pretty good spot to make a deep run.
Yeah, absolutely there. And I know like the second round barrier is going to continue to be thrown in the Sixers team face, and that's going to be the concern. But you can't beat that in October. You can't beat that in December. It's going to take until you get to that period of time. I do think one of my early impressions that the Sixers are being very upfront about is they're going to be really calculated in their management of Joel Embiid. And that's something that very well could come into play in the long run. We know the injury issues and the hurdle that's caused in the playoffs. They're starting from day one of training camp of limiting some opportunity. There's clearly a plan in place, which I think we should look at as a good thing. But really, everything is focused on the on-court product and getting past that second-round hurdle. And I feel as good about this Sixers team as I have. It's really any team during the Joel Embiid era.
I don't know if you see this comment from Mr. down here. You are the Sixers Wojnarowski. I think there's an opening at ESPN now. I wouldn't be shocked if you are the next Wojnarowski at ESPN right there. Look, you mentioned being conservative about Joel Embiid and being cautious with him. You were at the media day, if I'm correct?
I actually missed that. I tuned in live to the live stream there. Unfortunately,
okay, gotcha. I saw you making posts about it. I thought you were there. Anyway, he's lost a lot of weight. He seems to have gotten himself in great shape, etc. What are your thoughts on the motive, like Joel Embiid putting in that work this offseason? Obviously, he's having another baby. He's doing a lot of like good community stuff and all, but he's really put a strong focus on getting his body ready. How important it is for a guy like his size and with his health history to lose those 20, 30 pounds and get into this kind of shape.
Yeah, definitely a huge deal. And he mentioned that he wants to continue losing weight, that he doesn't seem done. I think it was a great thing that he played in the Olympics this year. And I know that was a bit of a controversial point at the time. But to me, the best case scenario for Joel Embiid is to continue playing basketball. That there's no way to replicate game reps of getting up and down the floor, especially at a high level like the Olympics is against the best in the world. There's no way to replace that just by doing drills or being in the gym or whatever the case may be. So I really think that was an ideal thing for Joel to continue his level of conditioning throughout the offseason. He looks really good. We'll see what overall the takeaways from training camp and the status of it. There is a part of me, I guess, in the back of my mind that has some concern with the level of like care that they're taking with his injury factor of why is this such a big deal right away? Is that knee officially 100%? All those types of things. We don't know anything that to indicate that is the case right now. So we'll continue looking at it positively, but I think it's a great thing that he's focused. And I do think he's turned a page as far as maturity, which we've been waiting on for quite some time.
No, that the maturity is a big thing. And that's interesting that you bring up the knee because we didn't really hear anything about the knee all offseason. It's not like we heard him get surgery or, any work done on it. It was kind of just ignored. He went and played in the Olympics. He didn't seem to be limping too bad in the Olympics, but I love that you bring up the Olympics. And yes, I was against the idea of the Olympics for Joel Embiid because of the health issue, because of the expectations for this year. But it's really important for Joel Embiid. And he made comments at the media day and all offseason about what it was like to experience actually winning and get past the second round. The maturity level, is that the biggest thing that Joel Embiid could have learned from playing with so many greats and winning a gold medal?
Yeah, I think there's like two takeaways here, one basketball and one kind of mentality. For basketball wise, I think he needed to learn how to be a little bit low usage. That throughout the entirety of his career, he's been top 5 in usage rate every year in and year out here. And the Sixers have lived and died by Joel Embiid's production. Some of that's been by default that he hasn't had the guys to lean on, but Joel also has to hold a little bit of that responsibility in terms of he does get tunnel vision at times. He does force things at times. So I think it was important to learn how to play with these other superstars. That it's one thing to look off Tobias Harris for a catch and shoot three. It's another thing when it's Steph Curry or LeBron James in these situations. So I think it was helpful for Joel to learn to play a little bit different stylistically. And then from a mentality standpoint, it is important to see how those guys go about their business, carry themselves from a day in and day out standpoint, the way that they approach a game and all those types of factors. So I think it was good for him to get in that setting, be around those guys. And I do think that directly translates to the way that he's going to play off Tyrese Maxey and Paul George, who are the most talented duo that he's had surrounding him throughout the entirety of his career.
This is an interesting question from Steve, but I kind of want to tweak his question a little bit. He said, Sean, how long will fans be patient while Paul George builds that chemistry with the guys? But if they're going to be uber conservative with Joel Embiid and maybe he only plays 60 games, will it be a struggle for Paul George and Tyrese Maxey to build chemistry alongside Joel Embiid? I think I looked at the schedule this morning. They played 3 games in the first 4 days of the season. And, if you're going to be conservative, that means Joel Embiid's going to miss a game probably right out the gate, at some point there. Are you concerned about Paul George building chemistry and with the fact that they're going to be this conservative way with Joel?
Yeah, one of the things that I'm most excited about the Paul George edition is he is more plug and play than most players in the NBA, that he can fit just about every system, play in different ways. It will be a process. There will be growing pains with it. There's no doubt about it. And I also am kind of led to believe and expect there to be a plan in place for Paul George as far as his management. He did play 73 games last year and was the healthiest he's been in quite some time. When you look at his overall track record, that he's had injury concerns too and missed some extended periods. So I think there's going to be a focus on making sure he's at 100% for the playoff push as well. So it will be a process. There will be some of these games where I think we see some Tyrese Maxey ball, which I don't think any of us are going to complain too much about when he's taking the full reins there. I think it'll be good for his development as well. But it's certainly going to be a season-long process until they ultimately get that point. But I am optimistic that I do think his game is versatile and will fit the Sixers team.
So Paul George's role on this team, okay? This team has run through Joel Embiid. They're trying to take it sort of in the back of my mind. I keep thinking that the right way to go is not to lean, even in the games he's playing in, as heavily on Joel Embiid. Let Tyrese Maxey and Paul George be the go-to guys and let Joel Embiid just get his. You know what I mean? He will, even if he's the third option, he's still going to score 25 points a game, get 10 or 12 rebounds a game. Is there any thought process that maybe the Sixers' offensive system or style changes a little bit also to protect Joel Embiid a little bit?
Yeah, I expect a statistical reduction from him pretty much across the board. And I don't mean that in a criticism of him not delivering. Right. I think that is going to be intentional within the flow of the offense. It's really hard to build around a big man in today's NBA. That's one of the hurdles that the Sixers team has faced in the forefront. I do think the leap by Tyrese Maxey was legitimate, him making his first All-Star, him winning Most Improved across the NBA. And I don't think he's done by any means. I think he's going to take another stride forward this year. I do really think when you kind of break down the hierarchy of this Sixers team, Joel Embiid's still the one. I would still put Tyrese Maxey as the number 2, and I think Paul George fits that number 3 role. What I'm excited about for him is there are fair criticisms that you can throw Paul George's direction throughout his career. But when you look at what he's good at and what he's bad at, pretty much the role with the Sixers are only the things he's going to be specifically good at. That he's going to be a high-level catch and shooter. He is going to be a guy who can create off the dribble far better than any of really their tertiary options have had. Tobias Harris's, even a guy like Kelly Oubre. Like Paul George is a huge step forward as far as a bucket getter in that setting. So there's going to be nights where he has his for sure. But I'm very excited about how this all fits together.
And this is more of a question because I'm curious. I didn't watch a lot of Clippers basketball last year except for against the Sixers. I remember Paul George being a pretty damn elite defender. Is at this point in Paul George's career, is he still a pretty – he was an all-pro. He might have won Defensive Player of the Year if I'm remembering correctly at one point. Is he still a pretty – because you've upgraded offense, Tobias Harris to Paul George. Have we upgraded massively the defense from Tobias Harris to Paul George as well?
Yeah, there was a point in time where Paul George was one of the most elite defenders in the NBA. He's not that anymore. He's not quite the glove that he once was, but I still think he's a step up from Tobias Harris, a better overall perimeter defender there. And there's a little bit of hope in me that we see kind of a growth in that era when there's a little bit less on his plate offensively. So he's definitely taken some strides back in past seasons, but still a guy that I would consider above average across the NBA and an upgrade from the Sixers perspective. So not quite what he once was, but still a step in the right direction.
So Tyrese Maxey, you mentioned him, and you said he could still get better. What's the next step of the evolution? Because I don't mean this as a knock. I don't know if Tyrese Maxey is going to ascend to an MVP caliber player. He was an all-star, et cetera, last year, most improved player, et cetera. What's that next step for him look like? Like, what makes him? Someone before you got here was questioning, Tyrese Maxey, the point guard, and can he really be an elite point guard and really run a team? What's the next step look like for him?
Yeah, I think the role is part of the question. Can he be a true point guard? Can he be a true one? I will say, like, when you look around the NBA, that's kind of a universal basketball takeaway now is there's just
Mhm.
not that many of those guys at this point,
Mhm.
that their positionless basketball continues to grow. So I do think there's a place for Tyrese, even if it isn't as a true one or a guy. Certainly it would help if he takes another playmaking stride forward, but over 6 assists last year. And I do think it's going to be a little bit of a team effort. I think there's going to be a lot more of Joel Embiid with the ball in his hands and off ball motion with Maxey and Paul George, those kind of way the offense funnels for this Sixers team. But really, for me, for Tyrese, I'm looking at it from a mentality standpoint. I
Mhm.
want him to not enter the season thinking that I take a step back to Paul George and Joel Embiid. I want him to
Mhm.
focus, look at these guys as equals, and still be one of the key pillars of this team. So I hope he doesn't blink. I don't expect him to. And I think he's going to only rise as far as his confidence in himself and his willingness to just go out and take those shots that this team needs him to. So for me, I'm looking at the mentality, but I only expect big things from him this year.
That to me has always been my biggest concern with Tyrese Maxey is that he has always taken a backseat to James Harden, Ben Simmons, even like he always feels like when he was not on the floor with the big stars, even Joel Embiid to an extent, he was at his best because he knew he could just do it. But he was always, I don't know if it was scared or scared of the bigger, scared's the wrong word. I don't know what it is. Always taking a backseat to the other guys. That is to me his biggest next step is
Yeah.
being able to understand that, look, this is my team. I'm the point guard of this team. You guys got to fall. I get it, and we'll get to the bench. I know some people are asking some bench questions in the comments. I just hope Tyrese Maxey doesn't defer constantly to these other guys because he can be that elite guy. And I think the lane maybe opens up a little bit more for him with Paul George sitting out there with some of these other additions to his team that we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah, I agree there. I also think drawing fouls is something that he could use some growth in, really respect from officials. He's a guy that gets hacked way more than he gets rewarded for. That's kind of one of the areas there. I do think the Knicks series was a turning point as far as him from a mentality standpoint, that him getting emotional, fired up, screaming up and down the court, him hitting some of those big shots, that deep three-pointer and that and one. Like that series to me was a real growing up moment for Tyrese. And I really only expect this year to be those next steps in it. So I'm very encouraged from what we see. And I do think that there's substance to what we saw at the end point of last year's season from him.
It's an interesting question from Marshawn here. How much of Tyrese Maxey being a facilitator takes away from the impact of him putting pressure on the defense when he's in score first mode?
Yeah, it's a tough balance. I think every guard kind of has a hard time striking that. Tyrese is at his best when he's a score first guy for sure. I think you can do both. I think Tyrese did a nice job playing that balance last year. I would like for him to build off that. It's tough. It's you kind of got to walk that fine line, and I guess the guys that are as good as they can get that's when they find that right balance. So it'll be a work in progress. Certainly not like the easiest thing to maneuver there, but I think he can juggle it, and if he can take the strides forward as kind of a capable playmaker, that only makes you more dangerous as a scorer because you're kind of threatening teams with everything there.
Gotcha. Real quick before we get to the bench and the depth on this team, I know he was asked a lot about it, Nick Nurse, about Caleb Martin as the 4. Any concerns about Caleb Martin at 6'5", or as Nick Nurse says, 6'6" with shoes on at the power forward position? It is a small power forward by today's day and age and stuff like that. Is he strong enough? That's my question. Is he strong enough to be able to guard the bigger power forwards in the NBA?
Yeah, I mean, for Caleb Martin specifically, he's been a guy throughout the entirety of his basketball career, has punched up in weight class and has guarded guys bigger than him, is competitive. He does have that dog in him, and he's a guy that I will hand up right now, Rush, that is going to be a favorite of Sixers fans pretty immediately here. It wouldn't shock me. I'm very intrigued by Gershon Yabusele and see if he makes a push for that starting role. It'll be really interesting to see how his fit is in the NBA this time around as he's spent a couple years overseas, but he looked terrific at the Olympics and was a starter for the country of France there. So we'll see how things fit together. I do think that there's going to be some competitiveness. I'll also point to Kelly Oubre, as much as he will start the season off as a starter, would not shock me if there's a little push for him taking a bit of a bench role. So I think this lineup will be there will be some moving parts throughout the year, but for sure Caleb Martin will get first dibs at that power forward spot. So we'll see how it shakes out.
See, I love that you said, Kelly Oubre as a bench player, because that is something I've said since day one. I like Kelly Oubre, the player. I like his energy he brings. But I kind of feel like he's better suited to be that first scorer off the bench where he can just bring in the energy and just play a little freer than being out there with Maxey, with Embiid, with, all these guys, Paul George, all these big names. I love that you brought that up. You bring up you say Gorsell or whatever his name is so smoothly. The Sixers only signed him to screw up my name pronunciation because everyone knows I can't pronounce names. I'm not going to say his name correctly all year long. I don't know. Did you deep dive into any of his European film? Because we all saw him at the Olympics, and we all know he bombed in the NBA his first time around. And I don't want to get too hyped off of what I saw at the Olympics, because the Olympics are different play than the NBA. And I almost, to an extent, I don't mean this to knock him, because I'm excited for him, but I almost feel like he got that opportunity just because of the dunk on LeBron. Like, he got more hype after that happened. So why do you think this time around will be different for him in the NBA?
I'm excited about him, and I did dive into a little bit of his film overseas, kind of his story. So he was a first-round pick here in the NBA by the Boston Celtics. He's a very different player than the first time he came here. That there's two kind of areas that he's changed significantly. Number one is he was more of a traditional big man in his first time in the NBA. He also did not have nearly the commitment to his own body that we see from him now. When you look at him moving up and down the court, he's fit, he's chiseled, he's cut. That was not quite the Gershon Yabusele that showed up in the NBA the first time. Had a little extra weight that he was carrying around, and stylistically was just more of a traditional big man. He's kind of embraced that stretch power forward type role that he's improved to over a 40% three-point shooter overseas, has put them up at a far more regular rate than was at the point for any other time in his career. So I do think like he's made some real commitments. Daryl Morey said at Media Day that he'd been trying to sign him for the past 3 seasons. I don't know if that is full lip service there or if that is something that is true, but I do think he's a guy that's deserving of another NBA opportunity. And I do think that there's value in guys who kind of have that wake-up call and have to scrap their way back. I mean, just look at, even if you want to use an NFL example, how many quarterbacks look better in a different situation once they kind of get that wake-up call. So I think Yabusele is hungry to get back. I do think he's earned the opportunity, and the stats certainly check out there. So I'm pretty optimistic about what he can bring.
Marshawn is bringing fire questions here today. He is on his A game. Who is on this team takes a Derek White level impact on defense and three-point shooting or timely impact in the winning moments? Who's going to be that Derek White of the Sixers this year?
Yeah, I think there's a couple candidates here. Caleb Martin's the first name that I'll bring up, as far as I do think he will be that role player type guy that once the toughest defensive task will hit some real timely threes. He's got some clutch genes in him and has hit some big shots for this Miami Heat team, and also has been as much as like a number 2 option for that Heat team in certain stretches there. I also think Eric Gordon is quietly a guy who's not got a ton of attention at all. Still a real deal high-level three-point shooter, still a capable defender, and a guy who would not shock me if I'm making the case why he should get that starting shooting guard spot over Kelly Oubre. So I'll throw Gordon in the mix as well. And I'll also I'm not fully ruling out another Ricky Council leap. That I do think everybody seems to really like this guy, that he's improved. I thought he looked too good for Summer League, which is what you hope for year 2 guys like him. So it wouldn't shock me if we start to get a bit of that leap from Ricky Council, or even KJ Martin's a candidate that I think this roster's better equipped for him to make an impact than last year. So there's a lot of names to keep an eye on, and I love the competitiveness of this entire roster.
I kind of feel like the entire depth, the bench of this Sixers team is better, but also leaves. Like you bring up KJ Martin. We think he's going to be better, but there's that question mark. Eric Gordon, has done well, but he's 32, 33. Kyle Lowry is 67 years old. Uracell, he's been around the block for a while. Ricky Council, we have hope for. We don't know. Reggie Jackson, Reggie Jackson to me is a guy that's going to be a lot of DNP coaches' decisions, but could bring a spark. Are you confident enough that this depth of this roster is deep enough?
I think there probably will still be another move or two throughout the season. That I think the draft picks, Daryl Morey mentioned that he still keeps those open as trade ammunition there, and there's some movable salaries. I think KJ Martin specifically was a guy basically signed to be traded or moved later. So I think there's still some moving parts. This isn't a set in stone roster, but this is the deepest roster that I've seen around the Joel Embiid era. That I love the competitiveness. A guy like Reggie Jackson, who I agree with you, will get a lot of DNP's coach decisions. You can make a case that he was one of the better backup guards on a lot of Sixers rosters. So I think that's a huge sign right there. I like the competition that each of these guys are battling it out, and I do think Morey will continue to tweak things based on what the needs to appear.
Yeah, you missed the saying that Derek White has a very high basketball IQ, and I think that's a pretty accurate thing. I'm not sure who that bench guy with the high IQ will be. Maybe it's Lowry, maybe it's Gordon. Someone else saying Gordon is a bench guy. I agree with Eric. I think Eric Gordon as a bench role is much better. Jared McCain, young, happy, smiley, TikTok rookie. Everybody's got a lot of hype. What do you think early in the season his role will be on this Sixers team?
Yeah, it's interesting. I think the Sixers envision a slightly different role for him than I personally kind of evaluated or expected coming out of college. That I really like the concept of him being more of a true point guard, of him kind of growing into those shoes to fill. It does seem like they're identifying him as much more as a shoot first guy, a guy that's going to do his damage from the scoring department. He is a really good 3-point shooter. So as far as like the first thing that they put on his plate, which in general I think is the best way to develop guys, is you kind of give him one job, then add a little more and add a little more until they have like a concrete role within the team. That one thing that I think he'll start with is a catch and shoot knockdown 3-point shooter that I think he's going to kind of fill a little bit of that Buddy Hield like role. But ultimately, I don't expect a ton of opportunity from him early on for these same reasons, that this is a super competitive roster. This is a kid who's still just 19 years old, or I think he just turned 20. So the point being, there's still a long process ahead of him. I think the Jared McCain that we'll feel his impact on the Sixers team is likely a couple years down the line, but there will be some fun moments. And I do think in the long run, he's going to be a good player.
One more final great question from Marshall, because I want to talk more bigger picture NBA with the Sixers in a second. Where does this team start at improving its rebounding problem? I actually personally think they've already done that by bringing Paul George in, by bringing Andre Drummond in, by bringing in Gurasel and Caleb Martin. Do you think these new additions will fix that rebounding issue that we've had in the past?
Still a little bit concerned about the rebounding overall. To put it like directly here, Joel Embiid's not a great rebounder for a guy of his size and frame. Yes, when you look at it stylistically or statistically in the numbers that he does eat up, that it looks great in comparison to the NBA. But the reality is, like, he doesn't quite have that rebounding skill. It wouldn't shock me. Yabusele is probably the X factor there, that if he makes a push for that starting power forward spot and continues to eat rebounds the way that he's shown to in flashes, that to me is probably the fix there. But I think like it's kind of a universal thing that there's very few teams like the New York Knicks that are built on attacking the glass the way they do. Like, I think that this is a kind of common NBA weakness that people have put a kind of a magnifying glass on the Sixers team. So a concern for me, but I think it's a little more universal than sometimes people give it credit.
At the very beginning of the interview, you mentioned about the Sixers. It's always going to be compared to, getting through the second round, et cetera. The Eastern Conference, there hasn't been a lot changed in the Eastern Conference, but there has been a lot changed recently with the New York Knicks, who are everybody's favorite to maybe, beat the Boston Celtics and take over the Eastern Conference. They are added Karl-Anthony Towns a few days ago. And my first instant reaction was that was good for the Sixers, because I am not a Karl-Anthony Towns fan. I do not think Karl-Anthony Towns is as good as he thinks he is and as good as Knicks fans think. What do you think the Karl-Anthony Towns impact trade has impact-wise on the Eastern Conference and compared to the Sixers?
Yeah, one of the more shocking trades that I can remember.
I did not see that coming at all at this point of the offseason. So
yeah, when you factor in the timing of it and what a significant move, very shocked of the overall deal happening. One of my probably largest critique of this Knicks team is I questioned their top end talent, that I thought they just were short on like they got a lot of depth. They got a lot of hardworking guys who play together, but I thought there was really a ceiling on what they could be as a team because of this. So that's certainly a move to make me eat those words a little bit, that this is an improvement from a talent standpoint. I don't think you can argue that Cat is a better fit than Julius Randle for that team. So I understand conceptually what they're doing there. But to me, this is a look of overlooking these Sixers a little bit. That this is a matchup with the Celtics type of move, that you can see Karl-Anthony Towns and Porzingis being a matchup there. I think if you're asking Cat to play center against Joel Embiid in a 7-game series, Joel may very well average 50 points in the entire series there. That I do feel optimistic from the Sixers standpoint. And I still like if you just want to line up the starting lineups, I still prefer the Sixers. That I love the fit of when Tyrese Maxey as the true guard, Paul George as the true wing, Joel Embiid as the true big man there. That I love just the fit of that trio right there, and then the guys that are surrounding them. There's still some concerns for me with this Knicks team of just there is so much on the plate of Jalen Brunson. And yes, they got better this offseason. Yes, they improved. But there's just going to be a ton on his shoulders, and we'll see if it overall happens. So it's going to be
I just don't think the Karl-Anthony Towns Jalen Brunson combo is going to. You got two heavily ball dominant guys that like to dribble, shoot, and do it their thing. Like, I don't know how the two of them, without an offseason to work together, how that's even remotely going to work in the Knicks' favor. And I'm glad, because I don't see it. But, I just don't. I think that's a recipe for disaster, those two guys.
Yeah, I think the pick and pop looks and some of the two-man actions will be really dynamic. Defensively is where I personally question it. Like, I think people are overrating Towns defensively. To me, he's you can spit some advanced analytics at me and some numbers that indicate otherwise, but I just don't see it as far as a matchup standpoint. I thought he did okay against Jokic last year, which was really impressive, probably his best defensive stint. But I don't think that, like, in a 7-game series, it's going to bode well putting Karl-Anthony Towns on Joel Embiid. We've seen how that's gone in years past, and that is kind of the trump card that the Sixers carry in their pocket, is you do have a big man who's able to dominate just about anybody in a one-on-one matchup, and I expect that to be the case there. So it's definitely going to be a work or growing pains and work in progress for them too.
Is it still the Celtics, then the Knicks and Bucks and Pacers and Sixers? Is the hierarchy of the Eastern Conference pretty much going into the season the same as it was last year?
Yeah, and to be honest, even though they won the series last year, I still have a hard time putting the Knicks against over the Sixers team. I get the track record, but like there's been a lot made about that playoff win. The Knicks won one playoff series. That they this was not some deep run. This just coming up short. They did not get that much farther than the Sixers team, and that was there's. I think there's been a little bit too much credit given to the Knicks here. So my hierarchy of the East would still be Celtics, Sixers, then Knicks, probably Bucks at 4, but you can't rule out teams like the Cavs and the Magic, the Pacers making their push. So the East is deep. It's going to be competitive for sure.
Is there any team in the Eastern Conference that no one's talking about that you think sneakily could be a problem for the rest of the Eastern Conference?
That's an interesting question. I think there's more substance to the Pacers than people are giving credit. That I think a lot of people looked at that as a bit of a fluke run because of the injuries to Knicks and all those type of things. I believe in a Benedict Mathurin leap this year. That I think that's going to be a huge X factor for them. Tyrese Halliburton still really good and had a really underwhelming second half of last year's season. So I think he can improve off that as well. So I think I expect the Pacers to be in the same kind of top end mix. And I've seen a lot of people write them off. So that'd probably be my shot there.
And at this point, are you still, training camp is just getting underway. I'm surprised you're not doing this appearance from the Bahamas. I figured, Sean Bryce would have sent you down to the Bahamas for training camp. There's a problem there if Sean Bryce isn't sending you down to the Bahamas, Woj.
I wish.
Yeah, exactly. We all wish that somebody would send us to the Bahamas to work. Are you still predicting, is it still the Celtics conference? And, we have to hope that somebody can knock the Celtics off.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's also been kind of strange to me that it feels like the media and a ton of people have done their best to just discredit this championship run and give the Celtics as much like bulletin board material as they could possibly get, from Tatum not playing at the Olympics to some Jalen Brown comments and him being left off the roster, all these type of things. So I think people have honestly not given the Celtics quite as much respect as they've earned. It's absolutely still their crown for the taking, and that team is pretty much returning all their key pieces. So it's going to be tough this year, no doubt.
Yeah, absolutely. Real quick before I let you go, I know you're a busy man and all. You're also, on top of all your fantastic basketball work, you're doing some great Phillies work too with Luke Arcani over there. It's Red October. The Phillies start on Saturday. They got their little intra-squad scrimmage going on today. First and foremost, if they were selling $5 tickets to watch a scrimmage today, you'd go, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely. They should
would pack the bank if they sold tickets to today's game. What's your confidence meter as the Phillies playoffs get underway in a few days? And do you have a preference to the red-hot Mets, who are also playing a massive amount of games in a short period of time, or the Brewers, who aren't as good but might be, a little bit more well-rested when it gets to that point?
Yeah, overall feel really good about this Phillies team. That I think this is the best bullpen that they've had during this era of competing, the Bryce Harper era here. I think there were the ups and downs of the season. There's no doubt about it, but I think they're mostly back on the right track here. And similar to what we just mentioned about the Sixers, you can't win a World Series in the regular season. All these months is now to get to here. So they put themselves in a good spot. They have the bye. As far as the matchups, I've kind of flipped back and forth on my overall thoughts here. I think I probably would prefer to avoid the Mets, and I do think that there's a little something to the momentum and how red hot they are there. But ultimately, I think it's kind of a loser mentality to be handpicking things, and I'm glad that they didn't go too deep into that. So beat whoever's in front of you. This Phillies team should be confident in themselves to beat either one of these teams, and I think ultimately that will be the case. So feel good. I think we got a lot of playoff baseball incoming, and excited to see how the cards fall.
The first question of the show before you were even on it was somebody was asking me if I think it's a good or a bad thing that the Phillies have a full week off. And I'm torn. Like, on one side, they need the rest. They got a lot of beat-up guys. Their pitchers need rest. But on the flip side, when you've been as inconsistent as they have late in the season, you want to just keep going and try to work your way out of it. Do you think this week off is going to be more helpful to the Phillies or more detrimental to their chances of coming out right on fire on Saturday?
Yeah, I think it's helpful, that particularly when you got guys like Bryce Harper, who's battled this wrist and elbow issue for quite some time. Get him some time. This Phillies team knows who they are at this point. This isn't, I guess, like past years where they're kind of the team riding the momentum, that they're just a straight up good baseball team that can win on an everyday basis. So I think they've got their heads on straight. I like the game plan that they've laid out for making sure they stay fresh and stay on top of things throughout this week off here. And I think that they should appreciate the bye. They've earned it, and it is a good thing overall.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Sean. Guys, make sure you're following Sean Barnard on all platforms and on The Gambler and 3,000 other places that he does work for at this point. Hardest working dude right here. Like Mista said, the future Wojnarowski right here. Sean, thank you very much this morning. And I guarantee you'll be on again soon.
Absolutely. I appreciate it, Phil. Have a good one. Best of luck with everything.
Yeah, thanks a lot, my man. That was Sean Barnard right there on the I Have No Sponsor hotline. got a lot of comments to get back to. I got to put everything back up on the screen. There were some comments, and I'm going to do it again one more time for a lot of you that are newer to the show at this point of the broadcast. This is the last week on the EOP YouTube channel. Okay, going forward after this week, you've got to click the link I just put in the chat on all platforms where my personal YouTube channel, the STT Sports Network, is located. I kind of created it on a whim yesterday. We're trying to get that up and going. Some things going on behind the scenes at EOP, unfortunately. And a lot of stuff at EOP is going to be coming to an end over the course of the year. This week, the YouTube page specifically, next couple of weeks, the website, etc. So, guys, please make sure, I saw some people asking, what's the difference? Well, STT will be where you watch Trending the AM for at least the immediate future going forward. So please click that link that I just posted. Click subscribe. Turn the notifications on. I'm going to try to bring in some more night shows and afternoon shows and do some more shorter videos and stuff like that. I'm going to try to do my best to build this channel on my own, at least for the next couple of months, and see. So, I greatly appreciate you're watching Trending the AM right here on the STT Sports Network and for now on the EOP network. But please hit that like button, that share button, that subscribe button. The only way I can make my own network go forward is with the support of the Core 12, with the support of each and every one of you. And I've said it before. I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. I love each and every one of you. But I need your help more now than ever to help spread the word, help tell people to find this place and get this going here. Let me fire through some more comments. Magic reminds me of the Sixers about 5 years ago. I love that a few of you brought up the Orlando Magic. I think they're a sneaky good team. I really do. I don't know about making a deep run, but they're definitely going to make the playoffs, and maybe they can win a first-round matchup for sure. I think the time off helps for the Phillies. I lean that way. I do get concerned that the inconsistent hitting could get even more inconsistent because of the time off, because hitting against your teammates is different than hitting in a ball game against an opposing team that's trying to win a World Series. Maybe just not a whole week off. But their last game was on Sunday. They're going a full 7 days without playing a baseball game. Maybe if they had 2 or 3 extra days off, that would have been one thing. But a full week off does kind of scare me. There is the links that I've put up, guys. Please find it. What is up, Jim? This is my man, Jim, the realtor. I appreciate you. I know you've got my back just like everybody else. So please, everybody, do what Jim did what Adam did, do what everyone's doing. Find my YouTube page and make sure this is where it is. With the overall improved East, I would like to see the NBA return to their old playoff format. It would make for better playoff matchup seeding, in my opinion. Yeah, they're not gonna be doing that. They're not gonna be doing that. Their goal is to keep as many teams to have a chance as possible. So that's why it's going to go the way it is. I think there's 8 teams that are obviously the Celtics are the team to beat in the Eastern Conference, but I think there's 6, 7, 8 teams that are really good. And depending on matchups, depending on injuries, etc., we can have a very exciting NBA season this year upcoming. Because honestly, there might be 10 good teams, honestly. I'm not leaving EOP. EOP is just kind of going away, is what I'm saying. It was something to kind of, as I say, because I've been getting phone calls from everybody from EOP in the last couple of days. When the news broke on Sunday in the middle of the Eagles game, it was kind of like a little kick in the nuts because I left PSN. Came to EOP. EOP is going away 6 months after I joined. I guess it's my fault, probably. EOP is just going to be restructuring and changing. They're not going to be producing shows or a website anymore going forward. So the Facebook page is going to stay active, and I'll be on the Facebook page throughout the rest of the year, or at least for the time being. But YouTube at the end of this week is going away, so you got to find my YouTube page, which I linked there, because I am going to keep going. I am not going to stop. The problem is I can't go 90 minutes every day without everybody finding my new YouTube page and the great comments, without 130, 200. We normally get 300 comments. We're only at 130 today. Without the comments, I can't do it. It is not Matty B's fault, as me and Matty B did speak yesterday as well. Like I said, he agreed with me. Just a kick in the nuts, my man. And everybody's pretty much starting their own thing at this point. I appreciate you, Eric. I'm glad you got me. I do. I have all the faith in the world that the Core 12 will find me and move on to the new places that I'm at. I don't know if I'll even try to find a new network to work with. I think I'm really, for at least the next couple of months, going to try to make a go of it, of creating my own brand, and we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll even start my own Facebook page too. I don't know. I'll probably just stick to YouTube. I'll probably just stick to Twitter. and doing the shows on those sites there. But that's just the plan going forward is to continue going. The plan is to continue. Just hope that you all keep following along. Can we hate on? You can hate on Jalen Hurts whenever you want. I just don't have to address it. First round should not be a 7-game series. It should be a 9-game series, right? No. Well, what's the first round? Once we get to the final 8? Yeah, we should have a 7-game series for the play-in rounds. No, I'm just kidding. Birds, Beer, and BS is still in limbo. Just saying. You are more than welcome to bring the Birds, Beer, and BS show over to the STT Sports Network if you would like. I'm sure we will talk about that in the coming days. You do these shows every morning, every single morning. And if you're watching on the EOP YouTube page, you've got to find my personal page, the STT Sports Network. I just linked it in the comments above, Finesse. And you know what? Whether you're a Giants fan, an Eagles fan, a Phillies fan, a Knicks fan, a Mets fan, a Yankees fan, a Rangers fan, a Flyers fan, whatever, all opinions are welcome on this show. And I welcome fans of all sports teams to come find this show. And we have logical, realistic debates every single day, 8 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. So make sure you find my YouTube page linked above there in the comments, my man. I greatly appreciate it. 5 days a week, and I'm going to be adding more. I disagree with you. We are the team to beat the Knicks. I'm just not a fan of the Carl Anthony trade. That's it. I don't think it works. So do I. Haven't been kicked in the nuts for real in a long time, but even the emotional kick in the nuts sometimes sucks. I'm going to miss EOP. My phone has been ringing. Yeah, I've literally talked to pretty much everybody so far about this. So no more. It's Party on Broad. Almost everything will continue, Marshawn, but everybody's either finding a new network to go to or starting their own thing. Everybody's got to make their own decisions. I think I saw P&M's going to go through October 20th, and then they're going to reevaluate what they do. I'm already working instantly. As soon as I found out, I started working on a new network logo, come up with the name STT Sports Network. I'm not wasting time. I've always wanted to do my own thing. So everyone's moving on. Everyone's doing their own thing. All these shows are going to continue, just under different banners, different brands, and stuff like that. Everyone's going to keep – well, I shouldn't say everyone's going to keep going. A lot of people. I already saw Matty B created his own YouTube page. Mitchie's got his Hardcore Sports Network that he's going to do all his shows on. Me, I'm just going to go solo. I hope that y'all follow. That's right. And, if I can get this YouTube page to 1,000 subscribers, you could legitimately leave me a $500 super chat. But I don't know where we're at now. We were at 91 to start this show. I know we were up to 96 the last time Mitchie Poo told me. But, guys, hit the like button, the share button, the subscribe button on the STT Sports Network, linked above. I'm going to put it in the comments one more time later in the show. I know you got me, Jim, and, yes. I subbed already. I appreciate that. This is going to be the only place. This week, I've got permission to use this YouTube page for the rest of this week to keep pushing it and keep promoting my personal page. I know some of you already had subbed. Hopefully, everybody else watching has subbed today and tomorrow. I'm here on there, Phil. I know you are, Barb. Going forward, that's going to be where you have to watch. We ride with STT. That is right. The show goes on. Fairway to Heaven goes on. Steve is part of my family now, the Fairway to Heaven family. I'm trying to find some of these guys places to write. I spent about 30 minutes talking with somebody last night to find Stevie and a couple other guys places to continue writing and getting credentials to sports events and stuff like that. Dude, yeah, damn. Look, it's unfortunate things. It's not anything bad that's happened that we're aware of. It's just what it is. Things happen in life. Things change, and I could off the air say a few other things, but on the air I will just say, and this is the truth. It's a pleasure to be a part of the EOP family. The people I met in the EOP family, the growth that my name took in the 6 months with EOP is fantastic. But EOP, it is what it is. These networks are tough to run. These networks are expensive to run. The big ones with websites and 30 shows and credentials and all that. It takes a lot of work, and sometimes things have to come to an end. You're only going to be I'm only going to be on the other one after this week. I've been given permission to use this page for 3 days, today, tomorrow, and Friday. Then after that, this channel, I will not be producing any shows on, except for I will be using the EOP Facebook page for as long as I'm allowed to. But the YouTube page is done after this week for me. It's going to go under a rebranding. Like Daniel Day-Lewis in The Last of the Mohicans, no matter where you go, no matter where you go, I will find you. Yes, that was a really bad impersonation of him, but I do love that scene. Bigger and better things, Phil. Absolutely, Adam. You know it, my man. STT. Skip the talking. What? Are you really trying to rile me up on a day that I'm really, really tough to get through here? Do you believe JD Vance has the bearded knowledge we all know? Oh, my God. I will say this on that whole thing. Look. I will say this. There was a little bit of decorum between the VP candidates. Both of them said some really dumbass stuff last night. Both of them were not great people, and they have some opinions I disagree with. But let me tell you something. There was at least some professional decorum between the two of them last night, unlike the other two. I'm on here now. I appreciate you, Barb. Make sure you guys hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I came to ELP because of you facts. Yes, absolutely. We'll now get off of ELP. Get the channel. Let's go. I promised Mitchy Poo two things. If I get to 169 subscribers in 2 weeks, I will call him Mitch Koff, one time a show, or one time a week. Wait, I'll call him one time a show, Mitch Koff. If we get to 1,000 by the end of the month, Mitchy Poo disappears as his nickname, and Mitch Koff is his name for going forward. That is what STT. What does STT stand for? Stop the turnovers. That's right. It is still trend. It will always be trending in the AM on the STT Sports Network. Barb in the building, absolutely. We believe in Phil Stiefel. That is correct. We all can see each other in the chat. I love that. Send the tush. That one doesn't work as well. Smash the like button. Smash the share button to all your friends, and smash the subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it. But guys, we're coming up to the final 20 minutes. Look, again, without all your support, I won't be able to go 90 minutes every day. I need everybody. K1's not been in here all week. K1's going to have trouble finding me. We need you all to find me and make sure everyone finds a new channel, because the only way this show thrives is with all you in the chat every morning and growing the chat every morning and bringing in new people every morning, get me to a point where I can maybe monetize YouTube a little bit. That's the key. But let's sum up this show. We're trying to say, forget the Eagles. Let's talk Sixers and Phillies. You know, tomorrow we got Josh from the Philly Special YouTube channel join us. We'll get into more Eagles talk tomorrow. And we're going to continue talking Phillies and stuff like that this week, and Sixers this week as training camp gets underway. 9 days till the first preseason game. 3 weeks till the regular season starts. But obviously, Vic Fangio spoke yesterday. Darius Slay is chirping more. The optics of the Philadelphia Eagles are getting out of control. All these things are on the table for the last few minutes of the show. Yeah, everybody's in the new channel now. I appreciate that. Daniel Jones is less. Oh, stop. Just trying to round me up in the comment section. I said, forget the Eagles for one day. How long is, I have no idea, years and years. Hit the like, sub, and notify. That's right. That is what you do. You click that little bell, ding, and that's what it is. And if anybody knows anybody good at making intro videos and graphics and stuff like that, I could use a little help updating things. We'll see what we do and how we do that. I'm not very good at the graphics department, but it is what it is. Yeah, that's that. Maybe the defensive play calls travel slow from the booth to side. You know, Marshawn, that really annoyed me. I don't know. I'm assuming you watched the Vic Fangio press conference. And by this comment here, basically saying they weren't playing close enough and they tried to adjust quicker, but it just didn't get to the field quick enough. And that was really, really freaking annoying, Marshawn. There's no way, shape, or form that we should be dealing with that kind of an issue at this point. The communication from the booth to the sideline to the players, obviously there's an issue, and that really, 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 really annoyed me yesterday. I have zero confidence in my Eagles after the bye. I've got a little confidence because the schedule's easy, but we'll see. I'm just trying to take a break from the Eagles for one day. Are you still? I am not. I have no. As the OP shuts down, there are no sponsors. Maybe I'll find my own sponsors, but I can't even approach people to sponsor me until I build the YouTube channel up before I get the views to where they need to be, where I can go and look, hundreds of people, thousands of people watch my show. Until that, I can't really. Maybe might work something out with Jim. Maybe my man, my realtor. Small little deal with him, but that might be the only sponsor and partnership I have going forward. Me and Jim will work on that this week. The Bluetooth connection, the mics were compromised. Maybe. You mean it's not hardwired? It's not like Vic Fangio was old enough that it was probably hardwired back in the day when he first started coaching. That really annoyed me, Marshawn. It really did. Yeah, we saw there was a problem. We tried to adjust, but it just didn't translate to the field. Like, what's going on here? Yeah, me and Jim, we'll be working together in the future here for sure. No more Sherry's tickets discounts. Well, I'm gonna that's a promo code. That's a one of those things where you just get a cut from everything. I am going to reach out to Sherry Tickets and try to set up my own promo code for Sherry Tickets. That is on my agenda. This, like I said, this is a bomb that was just dropped at the last second. So it is new to me. Okay. This is a new thing that I haven't had time. I'm literally working the pizza shop, running these shows, and rapid fire and trying to figure out something new. I will get a new Sherry Tickets promo code in the coming days or weeks, hopefully. Yeah, look at you. Finally find the new channel. Barb is from Around the Way. I thought you were King of Prussian. Around the Way. Okay. I'm going to miss the mustache, David. Yeah, the mustache. Should we put the mustache David Archerry up just for one final goodbye? There's the regular David Archerry. And then there's the mustache David Archerry. We'll take that off now. I'm sure you'll do. I have no doubt about it. I'm going to take my time this year. I'm going to work my ass off to build this, which I've never been afraid to work. So, this is what it is going forward. Probably still on a dial up at the Oh, the phone rang, kicked off. That's what happened. Vic Fangio was on AOL dial up, but then his phone rang, which kicked him off the internet because somebody picked up the phone. It's a thing. It's a thing, Marshawn. I don't even want to talk about it, but it is what it is. It's all good. EOP, the Facebook page, isn't going away. They're going to keep some form of content coming out. It's just, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I appreciate that. Giants fans and Eagles fans, we can have logical conversations, and we can hate on each other, and we can bust stones. That is what we do. So I appreciate you. Yeah, exactly. Some of us are old enough to remember AOL dial-up. Some of us remember, I still remember the first time we plugged our laptop into our computer into a dial-up. I remember just getting our first computer period in like 1991. That was our big Christmas present. I played Minesweeper and Solitaire for hours on end. I thought I was the coolest kid in the world having a computer. That was before AOL dial-up. But guys, yeah, that's that. Fangio schemes like he's playing Minesweeper. Funny that you say Minesweeper as I mentioned Minesweeper. That's we're on the same page there. Are you going to try and do post-game shows for Phillies or Eagles? Not every show. I'm going to try to do some post-game shows. I'm also going to try to do some watch parties where I live stream during a game and watch the game on my TV down here in the basement studio. And, or as Finesse said, when he first came in, I think it was Finesse said, my mom's basement. It's not my mom's basement. But I'm going to try to do some Phillies and Sixers watch parties on here. Anything I could do to get more views, to get more subscribers, more people to find the flagship show of this, which is Trending in the AM. But yeah, I'm going to work on it. Yeah. Anyway, guys, I think that's about it for the day. We're going to call it tomorrow. Like I said, Josh from the Philly Special YouTube page. He's got 75,000 subscribers on his page. He's a big deal. He is going to be joining us tomorrow, most likely. I got to confirm with him in a little bit and what portion of the show he'll be on. But we will get back to talking a little Eagles tomorrow. We will continue talking Sixers and Phillies, maybe a little bit of Flyers tomorrow. But make sure you guys are finding. I'm going to put the link one more time in the chat for anyone that hasn't clicked subscribe. One more time. Here is the link to subscribe to the STT Sports Network. STT stands for Set the Trends. I'm not cutting the show short. By the time we get this wrapped up, by the time more comments roll in and I address them, you know what? Give me attitude, Marsha, and I'm going to give it to you right back. Just so you know. Just so you know. Bring the DSM boys on the new show. Hey, I love that Dylan and Scotty, and they're doing their thing, and they're kicking ass over there at DSM. I'll reach out to them, and I'm sure we'll work together again here in the coming weeks and months for sure. 100%, Marshawn. I love those boys. They're great. 99. We couldn't get to 100 today. We started with 91. We got 8 new subscribers today, guys. Come on. What's one more subscriber? Somebody find me a subscriber. I got to at least hit that 100 mark by the end of the day. What's Matty B's link? I subscribed to it. I don't remember what he called it. Give me a second. I'm not even on my YouTube page there. Let's see here. Let me get here. What is Matty B's link going to be? Matty B is still going to comment on the show from time to time, for sure. I would never doubt Matty B, doing what he does. Let me hit my subscriber thing. His thing is, why doesn't it pop up? I don't know. I can't find it. Oh, it's because I'm not on my page on that channel either. Where am I on my channel? Yeah, no free promotion. That's right. There we go. We got to the 100 because Mitchy Poo switched to his other account. There we go. I have no problem promoting the other guys because, again, this was a kick in the nuts, not just me, but to the entire EOP team. So when is the last time VCP made it? I haven't had a need to go VCP today, but it was a nice question. This man changed on. Yeah. Man. Yeah. Thanks for looking. Look, hold on. I think I can look on this computer because this is the only one I got logged into my personal YouTube right now. Subscriptions. See, on YouTube, it doesn't, on the desktop, it didn't. Let me see. Matty B. Let's see if I type in Matty B, what comes up. Nope, Matty B Raps is what comes up when you type in Matty B in the search engine. So I don't know. Sorry. I'll find it and I'll let you guys know tomorrow. I'll write it down so I don't forget tomorrow, guys. But yeah, I subbed on today. I appreciate you, my man. I appreciate each and every one. We've gotten 15, 16 likes on this video as well today, which is pretty damn good. But guys, I am not going anywhere. I am not. I am going to keep going. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Marshawn chatting with himself. That is what happens. Marshawn chatting with himself. Mitchy Poo, I've been subscribed to all your channels all along, and you're just subscribing on all your other channels. What a disrespect to the beard. But I appreciate you. Look at that. 102 subscribers now. Look at that. Gained 11 subscribers today. Now we got to 100. Now we got to get to 200. Then 300, then 1,000 and whatnot. We'll see. Yeah, Matty B's not everybody's cup of tea, bar. But you know what he is, Matty B? He's passionate, and he does his thing. So, we're going to continue the conversation this week. We're going to continue growing this community, continue growing the new channel this week with great guests constantly. The other Marshawn today was asking them hard-hitting questions. Nerd. Yeah. Marshawn, you were on fire with the questions today. I ain't going to lie. On fire with the questions and comments today for Sean Barnard. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna repost Sean Barnard video on this channel later today. Hopefully that helps me find even more followers and subscribers, etc. It is what it is, guys. Shut up. Look at you. You're flipping back and forth. I love it. This is what I live for. 169 before you get to 200. That's right. It's Marshawn S. Yeah, dude. This is hilariously the funniest thing I've ever seen. I bet you chat got those questions. Look, good for you. It's a there it is. There he is. There is Mr. Matty B. That is so what you got. I tried to Matty B. I just want you to do something here. I haven't looked at it yet, but I Google searched Matty B because I couldn't remember what it was called. Even though I subscribed, I'm not logged into my personal page on these computers. I typed in Matty B in the search engine, and it popped up a YouTube page called Matty B Raps. So now we need Matty B to rap on It's a Rap with Matty B. So yeah. It's a Rap with Matty B. That's what you got to Google search. There's my man right there. Not everybody's cup of tea, but I appreciate his passion and his honesty to his opinions and sticking to his opinions. 2 Marshawns is too many. There he is. Yeah, he's always around. But again, follow Mitchy Poo's channels. Follow Matty B's channels. Follow them all. There's going to be a lot of new channels coming out here. He has an acquired taste, yes. You guys said Matty B's name 5 times. Hey, I'm trying to help him. He's going to appear. Chat had to say it 5 times. Diabolical. Look. It's a kick in the nuts. But we're going to continue on this week. We're going to continue on this year. We're going to continue on forever. I am going to make STT Sports Network the #1 morning show network there is in the business. I'm going to do it. I'm going to rely on my side. Who's this Mitch Kofsky guy? Mitchy Poo. That's who he is, Mr. Hardcore Sports Network. But anyway, guys, we got to wrap this up. I got to get to work today. I got a big catering order that came in at the last second. So whether this was a new thing or not, I was going to wrap up early today anyway. I got to train a new person today. But guys, I greatly appreciate each and every one of you. Please like, subscribe. But most of you have subscribed already. Hit that share button. Hit it. Tell somebody on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you're at, in line at Wawa today. Get people to subscribe to the STT Sports Network and let me help me grow this new venture of mine into what it is, my man. Just Marshawn calls you Michkovsky. You will always be Mitchy Poo to me. Yes, exactly. I love this. Marshawn's made my day with great questions, but then great comments at the end of the show. Guys, with that being said, I don't even know if I'm supposed to play the outro video anymore. So I'm just going to put some instrumental music on in the background as I say thank you. Haven't had a chance to make a new exit video for the show. So some exit music, just to kind of pump us up for the day. I'll be back tomorrow, same bat time, sort of the same bat channel. But yes, guys, please hit that like, subscribe, share button. I am Phil Stiefel at Fear to Knowledge. Guys, get busy living or get busy dying. That's the thing of the day. Ring that bell. Go Birds. Bubbles up to you guys.